at a job of whose choosing?
Well, at the moment, we've got 56,000 young people. Some of them have got degrees, most of them haven't, who have been out of work for a year. And we'd guarantee them a job, paying at least the minimum wage, also with 10 hours training a week. And we would work with the job centres and the individual to find the job that's right for them.
An interesting story there saying that Labour are going to put it in their manifesto that there'll be a jobs guarantee for the long-term unemployed, particularly young people. We'll be talking to Rachel Reeves from Labour in a minute, but our business correspondent Cordelia Kretschmer is at Westminster this morning and can sort of flesh out this idea a bit more for us. Cordelia, tell us about it.
Sure, Ranveer. Well, this jobs guarantee would be in place, we're told, for 5 years and be paid for by a tax on bank bonuses. Labour's saying if they win the next election, then they will guarantee to provide a job for every person under 25 who's been unemployed for more than a year, every person over 25 who's been unemployed for more than 2 years on job seekers allowance, and that we're talking about jobs on the national minimum wage for 25 hours a week. If anyone should refuse any of these jobs, well, then they'd lose their benefits, with the Shadow Chancellor claiming that life on welfare would no longer be an option, and that at a stroke this scheme would provide 56,000 starter jobs for everyone, every young person who's been unemployed for a long time, although it's not clear how many of these would be taken permanently off job seekers allowance or what would happen to them after these 6-month jobs expire. Well, the Tories are claiming that Labour's sums don't add up, but they too are coming under pressure today from the British Chambers of Commerce to set out what the government plans to do about what they're calling an unacceptably high problem, youth unemployment currently running at 20%.
Cordelia, thanks very much indeed. We're now joined in the studio by Shadow Minister for Work and Pensions, Rachel Reeves. Morning to you, Rachel.
Good
sounds
morning.
Attractive at first glance, but also sounds expensive too. How are you going to pay for it if you get into government?
Well, we're going to pay for it with two things. First of all, by repeating the tax on bankers' bonuses that we had in the last year of the Labour government, and also by restricting pensions tax relief to the very wealthiest people. So if you earn more than £150,000, you'll just get the basic rate tax relief on your pension savings. And as has been said, we would use that money to guarantee a job for every young person out of work for more than a year. And long-term youth unemployment has doubled under this government, and it is a national crisis, and it's a huge waste of young people's talent and potential and skills for them to be sitting on benefits when they could be working and contributing to the economic recovery.
Recent figures from the Office of National Statistics show that unemployment and youth unemployment have both come down. Just on how you're going to fund it, surely taxing bankers' bonuses is not something you can repeat very often to pay for this, is it? It's really just a one-off.
So that's what we've said, and our costings have a one-year repeat of the tax on bank bonuses, but the pensions tax relief restrictions for the whole of the next Parliament. And between those two things, we'd be able to guarantee a job for every young person out of work for a year, and for anyone over the age of 25 who's been out of work for 2 years, we'd be able to guarantee them a job as well.
So regardless of their education, whether they've got a degree or something even higher, if they're not in work for a year, they'll then have to work for the minimum wage at a job of whose choosing?
Well, at the moment, we've got 56,000 young people. Some of them have got degrees, most of them haven't, who have been out of work for a year. And we'd guarantee them a job, paying at least the minimum wage, also with 10 hours training a week. And we would work with the job centres and the individual to find the job that's right for them. In Wales, where they're already doing this scheme, the vast majority of jobs are in the private sector for small businesses. In fact, I met 4 young people who all had degrees last week in Cardiff who were working for a small software company that took on 12 people through this programme. And all of them had been taken on after the 6 month was up, which is great for them. But in other firms I've met, people have gone on and got employment elsewhere after 6 months. But it's giving young people that crucial experience.
Yes.
When you're out of work for a year, you're applying for jobs, they're saying, well, actually, you haven't got any experience and you haven't worked for a bit.
Why are you waiting 2 years for over 25s? Why the discrepancy?
Well, for young people, we know that if you start your, well, what should be your working life and you don't get a job, that has problems throughout your whole life. Look, I mean, we are doing what we can, and we're raising more than £5 billion to pay for
so if you can't afford
schemes.
to make it 1 year for everybody. So
well, it is an expensive scheme, but we know that there are particular problems around youth unemployment. 20% of young people are out of work, much higher than for the population as a whole. And for young people, what we hear time and again from them and from businesses is, you know, it's quite a risk. They haven't worked before. That's not quite the same for older people, which is why we're particularly targeting this scheme at young people.
Rachel Reeves, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
6:48, still to come this morning.